Hi, everyone. On behalf of VMUG, I'd like to welcome you to today's webcast, Protect Your Hypervisor from Ransomware, presented by Chris Goodman, Director of Solution Engineering at Vali Cyber. Before we begin, I have three quick housekeeping items to go over. First, today's webcast will be recorded and available for you on demand. You will receive an email with the on-demand link, so keep an eye out for that. Next, a Q&A session will follow today's presentation. All questions will need to be entered in the question and answer section on the bottom of your screen. Please feel free to ask questions throughout the presentation. We love to answer questions throughout. And finally, there will be a short online evaluation that pops up as you exit the webcast. Please take a minute and let us know your thoughts on today's webcast and what you would like seeing going forward. All right, let's get started. Chris, I'll hand it over to you now.
Thank you so much, Matt. I'm going to share my screen here. Welcome, everyone. Again, my name is Chris Goodman. I am the Director of Solutions Engineering, and today I will be talking about the product that we've invented called Hypervisor Ransomware Protection. It's revolutionizing security for ESXi. So why? So Vali Cyber is protecting the unprotected. This includes protecting hypervisors from ransomware. The news today, we had a lot of ransomware attacks against specifically hypervisors themselves. So who does Vali Cyber then support? So as you can see, we support any Linux-based hypervisor that's available. That includes VMware, ESXi, Nutanix, Xen, Citrix, KVM, Proxmox, and others to come. And I'm happy to say that I'll show you later in the demo that we are in both compatibility guides for Nutanix and also VMware. So we are certified to run on their environments. So then again, what about the hypervisors themselves? Well, hypervisors need a security solution. As stated by just a few of the things that have happened in the news today, with MGM being one, and then Johnson Controls, and then MITRE, the security wizards themselves that invented, the key ways to protect themselves, they themselves got breached. So there is no security solution for hypervisors until today. And so again, who do we support? Well, VMware is 84% of the market share. So they are number one in our list. We also have Citrix and Nutanix. We do not support Microsoft Hyper-V today. So how does it happen? How and why does this happen to hypervisors? Well, so first of all, how is usually three ways, sometimes separately, sometimes in conjunction. And in our demo, we're going to show you every way here. So first thing is credential compromise, right? So someone steals credentials or has the ability to get credentials somehow, and there's no other multi-factor authentication against it. And then the second one is misconfiguration. So some people say, well, I have secure boot enabled. Well, secure boot is only good for when you boot up. What about when the host is running? Or what if you have vulnerabilities on the host itself? Currently, there's 103 known vulnerabilities, according to NIST, that are affecting ESXi and other hypervisors. So these are some of the key ways bad guys try to get into the environment. But then you say, well, I have a backup. I'm fine. I have a backup. I'll just, get rid of whatever's on my hypervisor and I'll just get a new one, right? Well, so yes and no, right? So what if your backup was infected as well? So the thing is that if you go back 60 days is the recommended days to go back to keep somebody out, and then restore that back to your environment, you're going to lose out on all that data, and possibly also lose out on compliance too. From if you're like a large organization like a healthcare or something like that. So what do? You deploy ZeroLock. ZeroLock is a containerized management console that is Linux-based itself. So what this means is that we can host it in our SaaS infrastructure. You can host it in your SaaS infrastructure, let's just say Amazon, or you can have it in your own private cloud or even in air-gapped. So that's why it's so important for you guys to know that we can be portable throughout any type of situation. Along with that, there's only one agent, right? And it can talk to any type of way you deploy our management console. Also, it's very lightweight. It's the total overhead for memory is 50 megs or less. The VIB, the signed VIB for VMware, is only 10 megs in size. And it can be distributed through Lifecycle Manager also to make your life a lot easier. Lastly, every button that you can click on our management console is API driven. So we have an API first framework, so you can integrate with your SIEM, your SOAR, or other SOC tools that you need. And you can also script against it if you will too. So I'm going to stop here for a moment and start to now share another screen of the demo. So give me a minute so I can set this up for us. And here we go. All right. So let's get some housekeeping things out so that I mentioned during the introduction. First of all, here's the compatibility matrix for Nutanix. As you can see, Vali Cyber is certified on. Also, VMware. Here is all the releases. We also support 6.7, but they don't, so they don't show it. But again, key thing is that we are certified to run on that environment. And so the key thing here is in this demo is that I'm going to showcase our defense in depth strategy. So remember we talked about credential compromise. Well, SSH MFA will take care of that right away. And then we talked about applications that might be needing a patch or something of that nature. Maybe you have your ESXi host running old software that need to be updated, but you haven't lately. This is where our lockdown rules or virtual patching comes into play. Also, too, when a bad guy gets in, he likes to download tools. So we have the ability to do application allowlisting. So only allowing certified tools to run on that box. And lastly, we're going to showcase ransomware protection. So if the bad guy gets through all these defenses, we also have ransomware protection that you'll see in action in a little bit. So last thing I'm going to showcase again, here's our API. If you want to go to our website, it's api.zerolock.com, in which you can see all the different types of ways that you can interact with our API. So let's get talking into specifically about the management console. So again, as you can see, everything is API driven. And so if you click on anything, you can then pull this through your through the API itself. Key thing here is look at, we have all the results for the alerts, and then you have your endpoints here. And this is the key thing is our policies and rules. These are called our lockdown rules. This is specific to a lot of Linux environments, but we're going to focus on ESXi, is that we have specific rules we call recommended rules that will stop bad guys from doing harm to your environment. And so these come preloaded for you to automatically basically set and forget within your environment these rules. And there's many of them to go through. But the key thing here is also I want to mention is that all of this is patented. This is patented technology that we've set in our applications. And so no one has this ability today to virtually patch your systems to protect them from the bad guys. So again, we have a user management where we support user roles. So you can have a super user, you can have just a reporting user, or things like that. And lastly, we have these config profiles, which are basically our engines for the product. And you'll have here ransomware protection is one key one, but also cryptojacking, tampering for the product itself, and hashes too. And so this is the key things that we will showcase today. So the first thing, again, is that I'm going to reference my new defense in depth strategy slide here. We're going to showcase the SSH MFA capabilities. So within the console here, you click on the policies, and here's my ESXi demo. Notice there's nothing in here just of yet, but it's super easy, and this is why I want to show you. All you need to do is click on Add Rule, and we're going to click on this always have MFA on, update, and this is going to be then distributed throughout all my endpoints. So here we have my ESXi 7 box with ESXi demo policy enabled. And now I'm going to showcase that to you on the right-hand side. I'm going to log in as root automatically, but then be prompted for an MFA password. So let's see that in action. So notice you have right here, it's saying, hey, enter your username and password. And so I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here is chris.goodman, valicyber.com. Okay, and now what we're going to do is look into my Authenticator app on my phone. And get this going. Okay, we were waiting for the timer to go. 5, 4. No. So as you can see now, we are now logged in as root, but we were prompted for a two-factor authentication. So let's go ahead into our alerts area and just showcase exactly what happened. So here you see first we have the initial SSH session come in, and then now we have a successful second one come in through this specific alert. So again, all these alerts can be sent to your SIM or your SOC or be pulled from the API itself. So now we've showcased MFA. What I'm going to do is make my life a little easier, and I'm going to turn off this MFA for the next part of the demo. So again, it's really simple. You just go ahead and edit the policy, and you remove it, and you're good to go. And so you can see here's my ESXi server, and we are now going to kill this session. All right. So the next thing is Application Allowlisting. What this is bad guys will get into your system, and let's do that. Let's pretend we have stolen credentials. Boom, we get right in. And then the second thing is hey, you know what? I'm going to download something from the internet to do reconnaissance off of this box. So I have this little script here to download from the internet. And you can see right there that I was successful in getting that file saved. And so now I'm going to chmod it or change it so it's executable. Okay, so far so good. And now let's go into the alerts area just so you can see what happens next. Is that I am now going to run this hello script and see what happens. Boom, my session's killed. And you notice right here that we have an alert, and let's dig into it. So first of all, you're going to see any of the files that were touched. Second of all, we have this process tree right here. And we can display this two ways. One is our tree view, and the second one is our list view. And then in the tree view, the red tile boxes is what we've determined behaviorally what is wrong. Again, we require no cloud lookups for our product to work. We can work in air-gapped, and we get the same result as this. So let's dig into this. So as you can see, you get the PID, you also get the name of the file, a hash of the file, and then the arguments of running it, all within the process or all within this product itself. So let's go ahead and remediate it. And now that we've remediated it, it removes the file, restores the files back to a known good state, and kills the session. So that is another way that Vali Cyber will protect you, not just by SSH MFA, but also only allowing the applications that are allowed on the ESXi box. So what does that mean? Some of the first question I get is, well, what about VMware updates? Well, yes, VMware updates is something that we took into account, and that there's some secret sauce behind of how that works. Typically, one of the key things is that the packages that you do to update your hosts are signed. So that's one of the key things that we have. But we have other protections in place too to ensure that we don't trip over and make a false positive about upgrading your hosts. So that's one of the key things to keep in mind about application allowlisting. So let's say that the bad guy got through SSH and also application allowlisting, and he's going to now run an exploit. He's going to run an exploit, and we're going to showcase that here today. And so I have a video of this because we're not allowed to have live exploits on our machines. So here is the live exploit of SLPD in action. So again, here you see the alert view, and we're going to go ahead and run this. And we're just going to showcase what policies we have. Here's the ESXi demo. And notice that we are going to add the specific SLPD rule. This is included in the recommended rules, but for demo purposes, we do it this way so you can see how easy it is. Next up, on the top here, you can see that he's got a netcat listener ready to go. And here's the ESXi open SLP exploit running. And in a couple seconds here, you're going to see it's trying to run and exploit that vulnerability that that person has. And so it takes a couple seconds, but let it run through. Here you can see it leaked the address. Now it's reading from memory. And now we're going to open the connect, and there it goes. And now that was the key thing that we wanted to showcase, is that we were trying to get in as a reverse shell. And so notice we have done. And it's been blocked by the specific product we call is the ZeroLock virtual patching technology. And so let's go ahead and look into the specific alert here so you can see what the steps were for it. I have that on my box I can show you. So here's the ESXi SLPD alert. And so you can see you walk through again, that full process tree, but we stopped it and remediated it from happening. Again, we don't patch your box, so you are still exposed. But what we can do is stop the bad guy from exploiting that vulnerability that's on the box and kill his session and alert the SOC that something's going on. So the box is fine, everything's okay. A guy tried to hit at it, but nothing happened to the box itself. So the last thing I want to showcase here is our AI behavioral detection. So this is really interesting in that how it works is that we watch every process that's going on, and then when there's malicious activity detected, we will stop that, kill that connection, and then restore the files back to a known good state. So let's go ahead and see that in action. So again, bad guy got credentials. He did some reconnaissance. He exploited the box to get on there even deeper. And now he's ready to ransomware the box, right? So let's take a look at that in action. So one of the key things a bad guy can do is also use something called living off the land attack. So this is a more advanced attack, and I'd like to share it with the webinar crew here today. But what this is that this is tools that are used by the bad guy that are already inherent on the ESXi system. So such things as grep, OpenSSL, even wget, all these tools that are native to the box, they can be used for good or for bad. And the bad is what we're going to do right now. And so here I have this script, ESXi living off the land, and let's go ahead and run it. So it's going to go through my whole environment and try to ransomware all the bad things or all the files that they see. So as you can see, I got an alert right here saying, hey, there's ransomware. And that notice we have this little icon here that is the danger, icon where they encrypt the box. We removed that file and we restored the file back to that was encrypted back to a known good state. So let's go ahead and take a look into this. But this time, let's go through the list view just to see what it looks like. So you can see here the command OpenSSL and then what the password was to try to encrypt my box. But again, nothing happened to my box other than an alert and someone freaking out in their SOC right now saying how that happened. And thank God I had Vali Cyber stopping it, because this at any other point with leveraging this command would definitely hose someone's box if they didn't have protections in place. So those are the key pieces that Vali Cyber offers in regards to how we can protect your infrastructure. Again, it's multi-layer defense, SSH MFA, application Allowlisting, lockdown rules or virtual patching, and finally, ransomware protection. Those are the key ways that Vali Cyber will be able to help you today. Thank you for your time.
Awesome. Thank you, Chris, for taking the time to speak to us today. Megan Howard, VP of Marketing with Vali Cyber, is here to help answer any questions you guys may have. Megan?
Hey guys, I am coming at you live from the VMUG UserCon here in Boston today. Just can't get enough of VMUG events, so I have to do two at a time. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining us here today. We're here to take any questions that you may have. The first one is by Ian Gallagher. Can the VIB be spoofed? No, our VIB cannot be spoofed because it has been signed by VMware. And to that end, if you are wondering if we protect against kind of spoofing or phishing attacks, we do. That is through the Application Allowlisting feature that ZeroLock has. Did I answer that well, Chris?
Fantastic job, Megan.
Awesome. So yeah, so let us know what questions you may have. In the meantime, Chris, I was just interested in hearing more about the different types of threats that we're seeing in the hypervisor landscape these days. Are there any that are really kind of catching your attention?
Yeah, thank you, Megan. Yeah, absolutely. Like cicada is a big one today. Also, black cat that hit a large healthcare provider recently. Those are the two big ones right now that we see in the environments, and people are getting really nervous about it. Every time we talk to people about ransomware, they either know someone that got hit with it or themselves have gotten hit with some type of ransomware on their hypervisor. So this is, key times to keep, vigilant on what we're doing and lock down our boxes as best as we can.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you so much. Guys, please do let us know if you have any questions, if there's anything that you're interested in learning about with regards to ZeroLock. I was also wondering, Chris, just from like what's your favorite feature about ZeroLock? What do you think is kind of one of the most unique prospects that it offers or features that it has?
Well, thank you for asking. So there's two. I know you only asked for one, but so one's like meh, like no one ever is like really excited about it, and another one is like amazing. So the first one, and it's such an easy one to put in, is the SSH MFA. I mean, that blocks 80% of the attacks right off the bat. And you just saw me, guys, put it in. It's one line, you put it in, and then your box is protected. I mean, it's really that simple. But it doesn't get a lot of attention as ransomware protection because, I mean, that's what's really on people's mind. And so from that end, our ransomware protection is really unique in that it rolls back the files that were touched by any type of ransomware protection. Now, some people might be aware of that from when, SentinelOne or CrowdStrike, they have that for their Windows boxes, but nothing was available for Linux, and specifically hypervisors that run on Linux. Well, with Vali Cyber's technology, we have the ability to roll those files back to the known good state, and doing it in a way that's really unique in that we leverage inodes. So we're not a backup company, right? We don't do backups. We don't use us as a backup company. But we leverage the technologies of like backups to restore the files back to a known good state. So that's one of the ones that are really interesting to me. But SSH MFA is fun too.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's one of those ones where you're like, oh yeah, I know all about SSH MFA. But then when you think about, oh, well, how does this actually apply to a hypervisor in that environment? It's an entirely different thing. Yeah, very cool. I was also just thinking the other day about the MITRE attack that had happened recently on hypervisors. And there's really something to be said that if an organization like MITRE can get attacked and can have their hypervisors hacked into, it's nerve-wracking around, you know, what the potential is. I know our threat intelligence team uses a lot of tools to help them with you know, just figuring out where the threats are and what the threats are, all of that. And one of them is Shodan, I believe. Can you talk to us a little bit about that tool and about the public ports that that folks can see on there, and what that means from an attack perspective?
Yeah, sure. So Shodan is a service that allows you to leverage their database to scan what's open on the internet. So they go out and kind of scan the, you know, internet wide of specific things like open ports, like port 80 or something of that nature, and then they associate the IP addresses to either a country or maybe a business or something of that nature. What's unique is that we have VMware boxes that are on Shodan. So today, if you just run a free Shodan query, you can see for yourself that some people have their ESXi hosts that's sitting out there waiting for someone to either attack them or something of that nature. So it's crazy of how many people still have that open, and this tool Shodan exposes how many people do.
Yeah. So, okay. So PSA, the more you know, to all the folks who are here with us today, definitely go to Shodan and make sure that your environments are not on those open ports. It is free to use. You do need to have a login, but it's free to sign up and use. So we highly recommend everybody do that, just as a basic step towards your security. The first step, I think, in security is knowing what your situation is, because if you don't know the status of your environment, you're going to have a tough time protecting it well.
Well said.
Well,
so I just did a Shodan query right now, specifically of that for ESXi servers. So in China, there's 30,000 of them open. Yeah, wow. You know, and then France is up there with just 700, but you know, so there's still a lot of places that have this open that need our help.
Yeah, for sure. Well, Chris, thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone else, thank you so much for having us. We want to thank VMUG so much for hosting us both here on the webcast as well as in Boston. Just thrilled to be a part of the partner team with the VMUG community. As always, if there are any questions for us or you'd like a follow-up or a quote, you can reach us at info@valicyber.com. That's VALICYBER.com. I think that's all we got today, Matt. Let us know if there's any questions you have.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Chris and Megan, for that fabulous presentation. And to find out more about the VMUG webcast program, visit vmug.com and check out the webcast page. Please make sure to complete the short online evaluation that will pop up as you exit the webcast, and let us know how today's session went. And from all of us here at VMUG, thank you and have a great day, everyone.
Thanks so much, guys. Take care.